Okay, and it is Apple time, so with your permission, I'm going to read the statement, beginning statement. Good morning, board, staff, and members of the public. After my statement, the chairman will open this meeting and explain the rules for this electronic meeting. Please keep your microphone on mute when you are not speaking. The technical support team may proactively mute participants if the microphone is picking up background noise. Board members should check to make sure the microphone is not muted before speaking. At any time, you may text me, 540-336-3948 during the meeting if you need technical assistance, and an IT tech will call your cell phone to assist. I now turn the meeting over to Chairman Kobliss to read the legal statement and open the meeting. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. In accordance with the Governor's State of Emergency Declaration and executive orders regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors Continuity Ordinance and General Assembly 2020 Budget Amendments 28 and 137, Loudoun Water will meet today in an electronic meeting. In compliance with these special procedures, only action items necessary to continue operations of Loudoun Water and the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities will be discussed during today's meeting. Reports and other meeting information are available on board docs. Public notice and meeting access information was provided on the Loudoun Water website. A recording of the meeting will be available in board docs at the following link. I guess that the link is there. Chairman's statement. Board members wishing to speak are reminded to press unmute and identify themselves by name so that staff can accurately capture comments. All items will be recommended to the July 9th, 2020 board meeting. So just as an introduction to this meeting, this will be my last CIP board meeting. Can you believe that after 10 and a half years? It's been a great ride. I still will be attending the CIP meetings, but will no longer be on the committee. And I've asked Marty Sultan to be the chairman coming up, and he's certainly somebody that I respect and has tremendous amount of background, and I'm honored that he will replace me. So with that, I would like to have a motion. I understand that it's just Marty and myself, and is Angeline on, Jewel?
Yes, she is on. Angeline,
okay, so are there any other board members that are on with us today?
I don't see any other board members.
Okay. Well, with that, I would like to have a. Hey, Sean.
Hi.
Sorry, Mr. Kelly is on. We didn't see him. Sorry.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. This is Marty.
And Angeline, if you could second it.
I second it.
Roll call, Jewel.
Thank you. Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Ms. Ursakar?
Yes.
And Mr. Kobliss?
Yes.
And Mr. Bonfils is absent for the vote. Thank you.
Okay, with that, Nick Fugaro is up. So,
By the way, I'd like to thank you, Mark, for those kind words. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, members of the CIP committee. My name is Nick Fugaro. I am here today to present to you the award of the construction contract for the Upper Foley Sewage Pump Station electrical improvements. The Upper Foley Sewage Pump Station is located in Loudoun Water's central service area in the southern portion. This pump station is located in the Foley Sewer Shed. This pump station was constructed in 2006. This is our second largest pump station in our system. This pump station receives an average daily flow of 0.82 MGD per day. and with a rated capacity of 1.3 million gallons of flow per day. There are three other pump stations within the Foley sewer, or two pump stations within the Foley sewer shed and one outside that flow to Upper Foley. That would be the Willisford Central pump station, the Willisford South pump station, and the Mulberry pump station, which is located in the lower Bull Run section sewer shed. This pump station is the emergency power for this pump station is through a diesel backup generator that is a Kohler. It was manufactured in 2005. Recently, staff has been experiencing mechanical problems with the generator. In diagnosing these problems, staff has learned that certain replacement parts are no longer available. Any repair parts would be remanufactured, and for that reason, we were and in repairing the generator, those repairs would not be warranted by a generator vendor. Due to the operation and the criticality of this pump station, staff and the operational risks, and in order to improve on the resiliency of this pump station, staff determined that it was prudent to replace the generator for this pump station. The scope of the project, the design documents were prepared by RK&K. The scope includes replacing the emergency generator, fuel monitoring system, and the generator louver intake motorized dampers. The project will also be installing an exhaust fan in the generator room and installing a manual transfer switch at the pump station. This project can be identified in our 2020 CIP as Waste 49. We had allocated $440,000 for this project for construction and any engineering services that are required during construction. This project was advertised on May 13th. Bids were opened on June 9th. We received 4 bids for this project, and the low bid was Trumbo Electric. And before you, I have our recommended motion to award the project to Trumbo Electric.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Number one, what generator are we putting in now?
The basis of design was specified around a Caterpillar.
Okay. I assume we've worked with Trumbo before.
We have not, but we have checked in on their references and everything checked out. Our engineer, RK&K, has also worked with Trumbo, and they have come highly recommended.
Okay, and then the last question, we'll just want to make sure there isn't a hold on these generators because of the COVID, the factories, and just make sure that, you know, we can get the gear in time.
Yep, we have reached out during the design phase. We had also discussed with CAT the availability. Right now, they do not foresee any issues. They believe that once the pandemic is on is kind of subsided, they will start seeing an increase. So we want to try to get this project rolling and get ahead of the game that way.
And I assume it's the same size generator we're putting back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Marty or Angeline, any questions?
Yeah, I do
Oh, yeah, I
have a
have one.
few questions. This is Angeline. I have
Hello.
a few questions and they're all related to the warranty.
Yes.
I understand the, you know, this is more of a case of where we had to either replace the generator or repair it.
Mhm.
You know, in that context, you know, I would have loved to see, honestly, I'm going to be open about this. I would have loved to see some context about the warranty, you know, for the generator. Yeah, I don't see anything related to that. You know, my concern is that if we put a new generator, you know, in place, you know, we don't want to foresee any short-term complications related to the generator. And if there is, we should be able to see, you know, a warranty that is in place that that at least covers the, not only short term, but for a short time, even the long term repairs as well. Immediately I was able to catch that. 2005 we put a generator with Kohler, and then we're seeing some issues. Now I know, in the business of generators, they have a short-term warranty, but I don't see any context about the warranty, so I'm a little skeptical about that.
Okay, we can, I will pull up the bid documents and go through the warranty and get back to you if that is okay.
Yes, I would really love that. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hey, Nick, could I want to jump in here. This is Brian Stone. All of our construction projects include a 1-year warranty beyond substantial completion. Now, I think we can check on an extended warranty beyond that would be provided by Caterpillar or the generator manufacturer. But the project itself has a 1-year warranty beyond substantial completion.
Sure.
And we
As I
did,
said-
and we did include an extended warranty for, and based on number of generator hours and availability of parts, and within a certain radius as well. So we did include provisions for making sure that we are covered for the first couple of years.
And as I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but as I said, I would love to see a warranty that is there, that we can take a look at prior to making a decision on this.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Sultan has his hand raised up.
I see that. Go ahead, Marty.
This is just a question. In the write-up, it mentions the Loudon Water Generator Repair Vendor. I'm just curious, who is that?
Off the top of my head, I do not have that answer for you, Mr. Sultan.
Okay, you can get back. I was just curious. Nothing urgent. That's all I had.
Okay, I'm recommending that this goes to consent. Is there anybody that disagrees?
No, I agree. This is Marty.
Angeline, are you okay with that? Angeline, you're muted.
Yes, but I would love to see the warranty, so I will sort of do a chase on that and ask for the warranty moving forward. I would love to see documents related to that, please. Thank you.
Sure. So can somebody make a motion then to put the consent?
I make the motion. This is Marty.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Jewel.
Mr. Kobliss,
Aye.
Ms. Sursakar,
Aye. Yes.
Mr.
sorry.
Sultan. That's okay.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously for consent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So Brian, if you could just send a copy out to the committee members regarding the warranty, that would be great.
I will. Thank you. Thank you, committee.
Okay. Darren, you're up.
Hey, good morning. Just a second here. So, oop, that's not the one.
Bear with us. We're having a technical issue. Sorry.
Okay. There we go. So my name is Darren Geldert. I work in our planning department, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about a new study for the 600 zone capacity analysis. I haven't brought a study before you for a while, but we need one now. Okay, so just briefly, to give you a little bit of background, the 600 pressure zone is one of our westernmost zones. It's part of our central service system. It includes the areas out toward Lena and Willisford. It's an area that's grown quite rapidly in the past few years. And it includes a couple of major facilities that we have that serve that area. Those are the Brambleton Pump Station in the north, the Dulles South Pump Station toward the southern edge, and then our relatively new 1 million gallon elevated storage tank. And between these three facilities, we've been able to manage the growth in the system out there, which has really grown quickly. Both of these stations are only in the neighborhood of 10 years old, but they served everything from the initial startup when we had maybe 50,000 gallons a day of demand to currently where our summer demands are hitting well over 2 million gallons a day. So the pump stations were all designed, and there's a picture of the Brambleton pump station over here, with some small pumps that could easily handle the overnight flows and the low flows of winter, and also larger pumps that would deal with the summertime flows and the peak demands of a fire or other emergency. We've seen the growth in this system. That's partly why we put up the tank a couple of years ago. That's really helped to buffer those summertime peaks and deal with the inclusion. Now we also have schools out there like Independence High School, and there's more planned. So as we've watched this zone grow, we've started to watch. One of the things we monitor closely is kind of how long are the pumps running to meet those peak demands. And we've seen that the run times now, especially in the summer, are starting to get up close to our standards or exceeding our standards on certain days. So they're running more than we want. We've also noticed that the small pumps, which originally worked great to meet those low demands, now they almost never run because even our wintertime, nighttime demands are still high enough that they aren't really used or they aren't really needed. The other thing that's happening out there is we still have more growth anticipated. If you've heard of the Heartland development, there's a large, I think 700 homes in that area that are going to be planned out at least partially in that area. There's also additional potential for schools and commercial, and still a lot more coming out there. So that, coupled with the fact that most of this growth has been larger lot, areas with a lot of irrigation, they tend to use more water than the rest of our system. And then the other thing is we rely on this tank for service during the summer. So if we have to take that down for maintenance or to install a mixer or something else, if one of the pump stations is out for maintenance or an emergency outage, we have limited redundancy to meet those demands during the outage. So far, so good. We can make it through the next year or two probably, but we know that we recognize we're going to have to make some changes out there. So we're doing this capacity analysis. This is a smaller part of our larger system, so this study is focused just on this area, but it's kind of good to know how it interacts with the rest of our system. I'll mention that in a minute, but the scope of work really consists of a couple of parts. One, looking really closely at the demands in the area. One, just reviewing what's existing happening and make sure we have a real good handle on how much peak we have in the morning and how we deal with that, mostly irrigation. With our AMI data, our meter data, we have a pretty good handle on that. And we will kind of reallocate those demands through the system and make sure that the model really represents what's happening in the field. And then the next part will be also looking at the growth projections. When the comprehensive plan was updated last year, the county did allow for some changes in the transition policy area densities. Hasn't had a big impact out there yet, but potentially there could be a little bit more growth than was originally planned for. We'll also look closely at the pump stations to make sure we can confirm their existing capacity, but then also look at what kind of options we have for an upgrade, whether that's a relatively easy upgrade, just swapping out a pump. But we also then need to check and make sure we have the electrical capacity and that we have sufficient operational flexibility to let our people run it the way they need to. And finally, out of this, we'll get an updated model. We'll get a lot of analysis, reporting, and so on, so that then I expect this will move into another phase in a year or two to actually construct an upgrade. This was a planned project. We've seen this coming over the past couple of years. We've seen well over 1,000 homes put up out there in the past 4 years. We know that this has changed a lot, so we planned for this, and we're looking ahead. We allocated out about $100,000, and that's about what the cost came in at. So this cost is really broken down into a couple of parts. One is just grabbing the data and making sure we understand what's out there, and that's really also looking at the growth in the system. Once we've decided on all that, we'll set up a whole bunch of modeling alternatives to look at existing, future, and probably future with a sensitivity analysis to make sure we can maybe supply even a little bit more. As we look through those models, we're really looking at a few different items. We're looking at all of our level of service standards, but the key in those for us are the pressure, fire flow, and water quality. So with each modeling run, we're looking at multiple different results. So this fee also includes a bit of reporting and meetings. Those are all virtual for now, and then a little bit of management. We did go with Hazen on this project, in part because this is a smaller part of our large system, and it was a little bit concerning to give it to someone else who isn't as familiar with the larger part of our system, and we were hoping to avoid any of that ramp-up cost that they would need to understand the rest of our model. Just as an aside, we do have other small area plans that we do similar to this. Most come in under 100,000. For example, right now we're also doing a study on the reclaimed system. That modeling and evaluation is actually being done by Arcadis. So we're looking around. But so what I put in front of you is a motion to approve this design, or it's actually a planning task order. It's in our environmental BOA though. With that, I'll ask, are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead, Mark, and then I will ask.
Yeah, this is probably for Carlo or Roddy. The only reason we're seeing this is because it's over 100,000. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yep.
And I also assume that none of this plan is going to talk about any more storage capacity, correct?
That's not a primary option, but I don't want to take it off the table if that's really the right answer.
Okay, maybe 10 years from now.
Yeah, I'm assuming that pumping changes will solve these issues, but we'll keep it all there just in case.
Yeah, let's put some huge pumps in there. Angeline, go ahead.
Yes, would you please go back to the slide about the slide that before this? Yes, so thank you. Reports and meetings, 25,000. Can you please talk to me about that? Where are these meetings held, and it's costing $25,000? I mean, how are we baselining and customizing this cost?
Okay, I mean, any of the meetings we have, which will be ongoing, will be virtual. We will have meetings scattered throughout the project, mostly at the front end to help talk to operations and distribution and water quality on our side to make sure that all of their concerns are brought forward and that we understand what options we really have for setting the parameters of the modeling. As we go through this, the reporting also includes time to, it may not be clear there, to go over the model files that they deliver so that we make sure that we can then adopt those and use those in-house. We do a lot of modeling in-house, and we want to make sure that that also comes through. Because this project will likely lead to design, we want to make sure that the assumptions are well documented. So if we pass this along to another consultant for design, they're comfortable with that and they don't have to go back and redo a lot of things. There'll probably be a couple of, actually, I don't know, we haven't defined what they're called, but like a tech memo or a small report up front just to finalize our growth projections. And then at the end, more to finalize what all the alternatives are and analysis. Does that help?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
It's
Angeline,
partly because I'm sorry. It's partly because in the modeling of this, it becomes very quickly a lot of alternatives or a lot of different scenarios because you're looking at multiple results from multiple options. If we grow a certain amount and then we look at emergencies, if we lose the tank, if we lost the pump station, if we lost the other pump station, and then we're looking at all the different types of results, it quickly adds up to a lot of options and a lot of things that we'd like to see on the reporting side.
looks like.
Sure.
Tom
If that's the case, then, it's always nice to see, what the unexpectancies are as well, so that, we as a board are aware of that. So if there are any other additional costs that we have to approve, for this task order, we are well aware of the unexpectancies and any other, contingencies or assumptions that are, tied to this particular task order. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this one will be fairly straightforward. We worked on the fee with this with them and went through a bunch of assumptions already, or kind of talked through it in pretty good detail. So I'm hoping this is very close to the fee that we wind up with, or they come in a little bit under.
Thank you. Thanks for that explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Tom's got his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Koblenz. I just wanted to, I think at the beginning when Ms. Angeline was asking the question, is that item, the report and meetings, the vast majority of that budget is for actually the documentation, the report writing. I think a very small portion of it is actually for the meetings. It's just to be clear, it's not $25,000 budgeted for meetings. I just want to make that point.
Yeah, thank you. And I clearly understood that because, I think it was explained that, the meetings will be virtual. So I had the understanding that, majority of the cost would go to the reports here. So thank you for elaborating that.
Marty, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Angeline, was that your only question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for consent?
So moved. This is Marty.
Angeline, I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Koblenz,
Yes.
Ms. Sursakar,
Yes.
Mr. Sultan,
Yes.
motion passed unanimously. And I'm sorry, was that on consent?
Yes, it was.
On the first
Motion passed
item, upper
consent.
Foley, did we put that on consent? I don't remember.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I assume this is Tom's report?
It is, yes.
Okay, I have a question. Why have we spent so much money already on Potomac water supply? I mean, that's the reason why your report looks so good right now.
Let me look at that one if I have a moment here.
We were scheduled to spend $800,000 by now, and we've spent 1.8 million.
That is largely the money being spent on the quarry project. So that would be the rock stabilization project largely on that one.
So they're just moving that fast, or we just didn't have the.
Yes, I think the project has moved ahead of schedule, and they're just about, I think actually they wrapped that up already, the rock stabilization.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was
they're
just-
almost complete. They're almost complete with that project. This is Brian.
Okay. That was the only question I had. Angeline or Marty, any questions on this report?
I had the same
No.
question. I had the same question you did.
All right. So I think the only thing left is I guess the next meeting will probably be canceled since it's for the August board meeting. And we won't have an August board meeting. So the next CIP meeting with Mr. Sultan in charge will be towards the end of August. Is that correct, everybody, or Tom or whoever?
Yes.
Okay. So can I have a motion to end the meeting? It's a quick one.
So moved.
I second that, Angeline.
Okay. Joel, roll call.
Roll call, Mr. Koblis,
Yeah.
Ms. Ursakar,
Yes.
and Mr. Sultan.
Yes.
Meeting
All right.
adjourned at 8:31.
All right. Everybody have a great day.
You
Oh,
too.
you
Thank
too.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.